Welcome to TalentBee, where I talk about talent acquisition with fast-growing SaaS companies. Today, I'm joined by Johannes Midtbö, CEO of Populum, and we are talking about talent acquisition, people retention, how to measure your people, and they also just got acquired, so we talk about the acquisition from people perspective. But let's start today's episode with a little introduction to Populum and how that company was born.
Populum is based on two main experiences, I would say. One, my experience from working with talent and HR data from a large Northern European bank, Swedbank, and also my experience from working with big organizational restructuring and organizational data projects for the American management consultancy Accenture. And these two experiences led me into launching Populum in 2015, 2016. In Swedbank, and this was pre-GDPR, I saw huge potential in the structuring and leveraging existing HR data for analytical purposes. There was so much data available, and at the time, it wasn't used and structured to its full extent. So I saw the big potential there. And in Accenture, I saw the need for organizations to continuously follow up on employee experiences, employee well-being, employee stress levels, employee engagement. And few organizations at the time were doing that. So these two experiences in combination led to the creation of Populum, an HR tech software that allows big organizations. Our focus organizational size is 500 to 5,000 employees, so quite large organizations. It allows this segment to measure employee engagement continuously through small surveys to the employees, and then we combine this data with existing HR data that they already have in their various systems. It can be HR master data systems like Sympa, like Catalyst One, like Workday. So there are many different vendors out there for master data purposes, but also it can be local payroll systems where they have employee information, and it's only used for administrative purposes. But we add life to this data that they already have and give back fantastic cutting edge analytics. So that's what Populum does and how we came about.
Yeah, and I think very, very important topic. If we think about kind of talent acquisition and talent management, I think a lot of companies put a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of money on, hiring the right people, long hiring processes, maybe using headhunting agencies, really finding those right people. And, then they come, then, onboard them. But then I think some companies have realized better and better that, hey, you should really focus on kind of well-being of your people, performance of your people. And we all know the feeling, let's say someone has worked for our company for a while, some key player, and then they leave. Like how expensive it is to find a new people, onboard them. So very, very important topic for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Organizations spend so much money on recruiting and onboarding, and then they, in many cases, unfortunately, forget about developing and maintaining them. And then they're surprised when key employees leave. And it costs between 50,000 and 100,000 euros per employee that leaves. So you don't need to spend. An initiative like Populum quickly pays back itself in the retention of employees.
Exactly. I'm not sure if you have the same saying. In Finnish, we have this saying, if I translate it, it's kind of the like shoemaker's son doesn't have shoes. But do you have the same in Swedish?
Yes, I know what that means.
And I think it's very, very interesting, especially when talking with software companies that are within the talent acquisition people industry, like how they run their own talent acquisition people and all that kind of stuff. And what was quite interesting to hear when we last time met, you mentioned that like you didn't have any kind of HR department within Populum. So can you kind of walk through very quickly, like if you think about kind of your journey on hiring people and making sure that people are onboarded, people are performing, was it because you were still quite a small company back then that you felt like, hey, as a CEO and as hiring managers, they have enough time to do all that? Or what's kind of your thinking on when companies should bring in the HR department fully?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I think the first HR representative probably shouldn't be added before, like the first person with dedicated HR responsibility probably shouldn't be added before 20 people or so. I mean, we as a small company, now we are 25 people in Populum. We are quite different from the companies that we serve with our software. Remember, 500 people and plus is our target group for this software. So it was actually not until 1.5 years ago when we implemented Populum on ourselves. So prior to that, we were really like the shoemaker's kid, trying to educate other organizations to use our software, but not using it ourselves. And the reason for that was simply because we was too small organization. We are very strong on analytics and leveraging large volumes of HR data to give back insights to the customer. And we were too small for that, so we couldn't implement it on ourselves. Now we are our own smallest customer. And in terms of recruitment over the years, we've done it largely in-house. So the different hiring managers in Populum has run the process. We did bring in a COO approximately 1.5 years ago. At the time, we also implemented Populum on ourselves, who has like partly HR responsibility in under his umbrella, even though it's not a pure HR role. In addition, we have used external agencies for specific roles. We haven't used one agency. We've rather gone with more specialized agencies for the different roles that we have hired. And also since earlier this year, so in 2024, we became part of the leading Nordic HR tech group, Catalyst One. And after that, we have been able to leverage the central HR and recruitment department there, based in Oslo, for specific for recruitment to specific roles as well. For instance, customer success. So we're doing it ourselves with our existing staff. We're using external partners when needed, and also using like the central recruitment hub.
I was just reading some data on how SaaS companies typically succeed in hiring, and actually the rates are very, very low. If we look at the kind of data in thousands of SaaS companies, what the data says is that when you hire for a role that you already have in-house, so let's say you have a sales team and you hire more salespeople, typically success rate is like 50% for those roles. And then when you hire for a completely new role, so let's say you bring in CFO that you didn't even have before, success rate typically is 25%. So it is very, very hard to find right people. But how has it been for you during your journey? Has it been easy, a lot of successful hires, or has there been also some good learnings on what kind of people you don't need in the organization?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think almost all our recruitments have been very successful. Very few people have left us over the years. I would say that those, like the major failures have been when we have recruited maybe a too junior person to challenging position. For instance, in sales, we sell a quite sophisticated product to very sophisticated customers, and they expect to have a very sophisticated conversation with our sales representative about our complex software. So we cannot put a too junior salesperson on meeting a senior HR executive. That's one learning. So right now our sales department only contains senior sales executives, because they can run the type of conversation that would be expected by our customers. So that's one example. In the like programming and development department, we have a broader diversity of seniority, some really, really senior, and also some junior employees. Most recently, just 1 month ago, a girl joined directly from university, who came from one of our summer internships. So she had a good experience being here during the summer, and then started full time. So yeah, a wide array of sources of candidates.
Interesting. How do you think on the kind of retention part because I think it's very important to not only find people that perform within the role, but actually people who actually enjoy the role and stay for a lot of time, because onboarding takes time, and I think especially having, for example, longer sales cycles. For example, salesperson typically becomes actually profitable for the business after 12 months or something. So for the retention part, like what are the things that you look in the recruitment process? Is there some stuff regarding how the person fits your culture, or look like how do you think about the retention part already when hiring people?
Of course, that's absolutely necessary to think about that during the recruitment process, and we think about that already when recruiting to our summer internships, and in some cases master thesis projects as well. We don't. Of course, we want those projects standalone to be value adding and productive, but we think we always want the person who comes in and does a summer project for us to eventually come back and become a full-time employee. One question that I always ask during the final interview, regardless of seniority or role, is something in the lines of, when we sit here in 3 or 4 or 5 years time and look back on your time at Populum, what are the main reasons why you have stayed with us over these years? Because that really brings or boils it down to the essence of why this person what would make this person a long-term employee. And candidates give very different answers to these questions. In many cases, they are all about like learning new stuff all the time, maybe changing roles. They've experienced a wide variety of tasks. That's one driver of retention. In other cases, it's more about the social aspects. That they feel that they become truly a part of this organization and formed connections with other people. So and both these stories are true, right? Both these are drivers of retention. So it's good to ask it already up front.
Yeah, very, very interesting things. And I've been personally thinking, like, what are the things that, for example, have kept me in an organization? I think I'm a typical youngster in a way that I haven't stayed in any working place for more than 3 years. I get bored very easily. And even though, I've been getting promotions or stuff like that, then at some point I'm like, hey, I need a new organization, a lot of new stuff. So very, very interesting to hear that. But hey, let's talk a bit about kind of measuring the current people. And you mentioned when we met at Clarion Hotel that there are multiple things that your platform measures. But I think the most interesting one for me you mentioned was the clarity. So when you ask employees to give scores for different things, clarity is one of the questions over there. So how good is the clarity, regarding whether it's the role or company vision or company strategy? And you share this idea that, sometimes when a company gets bad score in clarity, you kind of congratulate them on that one because it's the easiest thing to fix, basically. Can you talk a bit about that? Because I think that was very interesting indeed.
Yeah, so we have our standardized science-based framework on the nine drivers that are key success factors to become an engaged and motivated organization, and thereby, for instance, ensure high employee retention. One of these nine drivers is clarity, and it's like a recurring topic in all this science we're looking at. If an organization lacks clarity, and this is experienced clarity now amongst the employees, in some cases the executive team or the leaders may believe that there is clarity in the organization, but this doesn't matter if this clarity is not experienced by the employee, which is why it's such a good metric to measure. If the employees experience lack of clarity, meaning maybe short-sighted decision making, maybe things are changing too much, or like of course things are changing, but if it's changing for no reason, that causes confusion. Maybe you are a worker in a production facility and you are experiencing that your schedule is always coming too late, so you cannot plan your time with your family, etc. All these things causes lots of frustration and mistrust in organizations. And when clarity is broken, it hurts all other engagement drivers, including causing a negative impact on the experienced balance of the employees. So people feel more stressed with the same work volume if the amount of clarity is low. So you can you can actually reduce the amount of stress on your people, not changing the scope of the work. You're doing exactly the same thing, but by increasing clarity. So whenever we launch with new customers and we look at their first scores in Populum, because we're doing these strategic inspirational trainings with the first analytics when they are onboarded, and they scored low on clarity, I say, congratulations, dear customer. Here you have a super specific, very good focus area for you in the coming year or months. And if you focus on clarity, which can be free of charge to fix, it will have a huge impact on all the other engagement drivers. Of course, this is much more beneficial than everything being perfectly fixed and maybe still the employees are stressed. Then you could have a situation where you simply have too few people, and of course that would be very expensive to fix a challenging work-life balance situation by hiring new employees, because we all know hiring expensive and people are expensive. So yeah, whenever the clarity is broken, I say congratulations. Here you have a very good area to start working.
I started to think, regarding clarity and, for within TalentBee, I think while things are kind of normal, it is easier to kind of give that clarity for people. But then I was thinking, like, if there are situations with a lot of changes going on, then it might be hard to give clarity for people because I don't even know as a CEO what's going on. And maybe from there would be very interesting to get to your acquisition. So, your company were acquired. And I think when, acquiring, merging companies together, there is a lot of things that are not clear. So would be very interesting to hear, were you able to create good clarity for your team when the acquisition happened? Like how was, can you share the story? Like how did it happen? How did you got acquired at all?
Oh yeah, so it was quite a long process for us in the founder trio team. It started out already 2 years prior to the acquisition with a strategic partnership with Catalyst One. We have a complementary technology to the core HR master data platform that Catalyst One provides to its customers. So it started out as this commercial strategic partnership where Populum were to be sold as an add-on module to Catalyst One customers. And quite quickly, we got several shared customers and like excellent feedback from the customers where they really appreciate the synergies between these two technologies. So we got this technical validation, we got this commercial validation, had a really powerful two-way standard integration put in place. Also, our organizations started to collaborate very closely. So yeah, at some point in time, most of my meetings were with Catalyst One and not with our Populum employees, even at the time of us not being an acquired organization. So over time, the relationship simply become much more profound, and it was like we had dated for 2 years, and then we decided, why not get married? So like a natural progression, nothing out of the blue.
Yeah. How was it for your team? Because now you mentioned that you are now also kind of merging the offices in October, if I remember correctly. Like how was it for your people, and how you kind of communicated all of this to your people, and was the reaction good one? Because in every change there is of course a lot of risks going on, and it might be kind of scary for the employees as well. But how was kind of the communication and the clarity around all of that happening?
Yeah, so we've always been very open with the communication about this, and always shared with the organization what we do know and what we don't know. I mean, we don't always need to have all the answers because the answers aren't there. But if our people knows what we know and also what we don't know, then yeah, that's sufficient. And this has been like really well received by our employees. In our most recent internal Populum survey, we scored a record high ENPS, Employee Net Promoter Score, of 100. So it's not possible to have a higher score in our own surveys, meaning that our employees are really motivated and very likely to recommend us as an employer to others. So it looks like we've been able to manage this process in a good way. We are moving into shared offices next week. So this is October 2024, and that will be like the first like physical integration that we will have experienced. But this we've been able to work from the Catalyst One office ever since the acquisition. We've had like lots of joint events. We have had shared like conferences where all our people have partied together. So also this is a very natural progression.
How do you personally feel? Because I think, for me as a founder, and a lot of founders that I know, when starting a company, I think most people do think somehow that, hey, maybe someday I will sell the business, or at least part of the business. Like how do you feel now? Do you feel successful?
No, I don't feel successful. It's I mean it's like finishing a chapter of the book, which has been very like rewarding and like fantastic learning experiences, and of course I know that most startups fail, and now we have like succeeded in this first chapter, and succeeded by joining like a bigger family of in the shape of Catalyst One, and also additional companies are to be joining in the future, hopefully. So yeah, I'm excited is a better word for this new chapter that we have just started.
And that's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you got a lot of good ideas about SaaS talent acquisition. If you enjoyed the episode, feel free to share it on your social so others can hear it too. And if you have a topic in mind that you would like me to cover in this podcast, share it with me as well. I'm Samuli, CEO and co-founder in TalentBee, where we help fast-growing SaaS companies in their talent acquisition. Make sure to follow us, make sure to follow this podcast, and have an awesome week. Bye-bye.